Good evening, folks. Welcome to this week's episode of Beer Rating with Sean Connors, the first episode of 2021. The beer I have today is one I've talked about a little bit in the last episode. It's one I picked up. It's a local brew from here in Newfoundland, and it's Wild Bologna. And believe it or not, it's actually made with real bologna, or Bologna, depending on where you're from. I have no idea what to expect. It's an IPA, and if anybody's watched my regular reviews, I'm not a huge IPA fan. I don't mind them, but they're not my go-to beer. So it should be interesting. I know several people that have tried it, and they actually said it's not too bad, which I find really hard to believe. I mean, who looks at a slice of bologna and thinks, okay, let's make a beer out of bologna? So I have no idea what to expect. So I'll give my glass a quick cold water rinse. I'll look at the can a little bit. Alright, so name of the brewery is Boomstick Brewery. Wild Bologna Indian Pale Ale. 6.8% alcohol, which they consider a strong beer. And as I said, it's brewed here in Newfoundland, specifically in Cornerberg, which is on the west coast. And it says, we brew with wheat and barley. Please return for refund, blah, blah, blah. Alright, there, a little sign there. Sorry, a little story here. It says, this whopper of a beer free ranges through floral, citrus, pine, and spice notes before heading to Big Hop Country, where Cascade, Centennial, Chinook, Columbus, Cashmere, and Crystal combine into one heck of a tasty beer. A brag-worthy body of malt carries the flavors through with a final comet kick. No camo required. And it says, made with real bologna. I'm so baffled by this. But let's pour it up and see what we got. A nice golden color, typical for a pale ale. Quite a bit ahead. I probably poured it a little bit too fast. I'm so baffled by bologna and beer. And I'm from Newfoundland, where bologna is pretty popular. Okay, I'm just going to wait for that to settle. Next week I have a couple of, actually it's a gift pack I got. It's 3 Trappist beers from Chini. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'll have to check that up before next week. So I'm hoping to start one of them next week. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them 3 weeks back to back, or I'll do them every second week. But I'll figure that out next week, or just play it by ear. Who knows? Alright, so quite a bit ahead there. You can definitely smell the hops, and it's definitely a piney aroma. Actually, that's quite piney, more than I think I've ever noticed before. Like I said, quite substantial head, quite hoppy aroma. Let's give it a taste. Definitely tastes the hops. The various hops, or this is what they say, Cascade, Centennial, Chinook, Columbus, Cashmere, and Crystal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of hops. I gotta give it a rating. My ratings, as always, are out of 5. 1's a drain pour, don't like it, can't finish it. A 2 is like, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I'll finish it. A 3 is a 3 is a good beer. A 4 would be a very good beer, and a 5 would be the best beer ever. Honestly, it's not as bad as I was expecting. As I said, I don't know who comes up with the idea of adding bologna to beer. But you can't taste the bologna, which is probably a good thing. Not that I don't like bologna, I just don't think I like my bologna in my beer. It's not bad. I still want to get a couple more swigs at it. I'm still getting a lot of foam there. As I said, I'm not a big IPA fan to start with, so yeah, I have to take that in consideration. It's quite hoppy. And for me, I think the taste of the hops outweighs everything else. The flavor. I'm curious if anybody else who has had this, who is more inclined to drink an IPA, if they could actually get any remnants of Bologna. I have my doubts. Offhand, I'm thinking a 3.0, but I'm going to take another mouthful just to see. Like I said, it's not a bad beer, but to me, it doesn't seem like there's anything special about it. As I said, I didn't know what to expect. So it's not a bad beer by any means. It's quite hoppy, and I'm getting more pine than citrus or florals or spice. But it's an okay beer. I think I'm comfortable with 3.0. Good beer, definitely one to try, if nothing else, just for the novelty of it all. Whether or not this will be a standard beer of theirs, I have no idea. I'm thinking maybe it was just on a whim type of thing. Who knows? If you live in the area, by all means, pick one up. Let me know what you think, especially if you're an IPA fan. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Excuse me. Feel free to comment on either the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. With that being said, feel free to join the Facebook group and subscribe to the YouTube channel. One more taste, just to confirm. Yeah, it's like I said, it's not a bad beer, but a little too hoppy for my liking, which is typical for an IPA. So I think I'm confident giving it a 3.0. So there you go, folks, for the Boomstick Brewery's Wild Bologna Indian Pale Ale 3.0. Hopefully you can join me next week. We'll hit a couple of those, at least one of those Trappist beers, and we'll see what we got. Until next brew, as always, enjoy responsibly. Cheers.